This is a more of an update about what's new in version 11 of what was formerly called ADDM, or Atrium Discovery and Dependency Mapping, which was not always completely clear as to what the product was about. It's been remonikered. We're now calling the product BMC Discovery, and you'll kind of get a feel for what the product is. Under the covers, it's still the same great discovery product it's always been. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through a few slides. I'm going to describe what the product is, some of the new capabilities, and as we're going through, I'll step sideways, and we'll take a look at what I'm actually talking about in a live demonstration environment. And again, Q&A. If you have questions, post them in the Q&A window, and we will try to answer as many of those as we can. So again, the whole point of a discovery product is to bring all of the information that you might have in disparate locations in different silos of your organization, and bring that all together into a single place where we can leverage that information for, really the backbone of our digital enterprise management, whether that's service management, being able to quickly understand root cause and things of that nature, or what kinds of issues are being caused by some sort of a change that took place in the environment, whether it's operations management. Again, being able to understand root cause, being able to discern that if I make a change here, what's the upstream, downstream ripple effect of making that kind of a change in my environment? Or enterprise architecture. How do I build out a hot backup or a recovery site if I don't know all of the components and pieces that go into delivering the applications that keep my business running? Hopefully our folks at the hospital had something of that nature, but again, do you pay the money? I would. Again, security operations, being able to quickly identify based on information that's been posted on CVE or other areas of vulnerabilities that are taking place in the environment. We look back at things like the heartbeat, where we knew the configuration that we needed to get a hold of in the Red Hat environment or the Linux environment, and be able to determine whether those machines were susceptible. Well, it's very easy to pull all that information together through a product like BMC Discovery. And again, that's the discovery, bringing all of those different various sources of data into the same location is what helps us deliver value with this product. So again, it's the same product it's always been. Let me briefly describe what that product is. It's one of the premier. It is, as far as I'm concerned, it is the premier discovery solution for your data center on the market today. It has the most comprehensive set of application support, host support, being able to understand mainframe configurations, cluster configurations, load balancers, and what's behind load balancers, and being able to understand the significance and the impact of an application running on a machine, communicating with an application running on another machine, and be able to automatically put that information together. All of that's the same. What we've done, though, is we never go to sleep on this product. This is BMC's hottest selling product in the space right now. It is our fastest growth engine, and you'll understand why as we start to look at this. But again, it's bringing all of those silos of information together into a single place.
Hey, Joe.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I meant to say, I was in a meeting with several BMC executives about a year ago, and they were all sitting around describing the scenario you just mentioned, that it's one of BMC's very hottest products. And they said, well, what does ADDM stand for? Nobody could come up with, well, what does it stand for? Well, they fixed that now. It's now they've changed the name, so it's BMC Discovery. They can remember it.
Right.
So anyway, it's just an aside.
Right, no problem. So again, some of the things that we've done is we've really enhanced the way that we can define those service models that are most often automatically captured, but we still had to go in and we still had to define what they looked like and define what the modules of those applications were, give them a name, and do that sort of thing. And again, the views that we had available, unless you were very, very diligent, you might have gotten a part of the picture or a subset of the picture. And when we look back at some of the old presentations that we've done, if you looked at our example of an Exchange environment, you saw a couple of servers running in a cluster. You saw Exchange running on a server, and you saw some supporting software and things of that nature. But that wasn't the big picture, really. When we start to talk about the big picture, we want to know, well, what else is Exchange interacting with? Is it part of another business process, and so on? So what we've done is we've developed this new visualization of all of the communications that's taking place at the level of a database, at the level of not just the database server, but the database itself, or an application server or something of that nature. And we've given it some intelligence to be able to spread out and find all that connectivity and allow you to very quickly and easily map these applications. So again, it's as simple as being able to go into the application studio, dragging a circle around those devices or those things that you believe to be part of that application service, and defining the model name for that. And again, there's different visualizations that we take advantage of within the product. We can switch the visualization to a hierarchical impact, so we can see what it's going to look like when it gets into the CMDB and things of that nature. So again, it's much easier now to model applications than it was in previous versions, and it's much more efficient and it's much more effective in understanding all of the implications, not just the discrete pieces that make up that particular application. So again, we automatically find most parts of the applications in your environment. When I say most parts, of course, there's going to be custom software in some environments. There's going to be certain applications that maybe don't hit the radar as those things that are most prevalent in data centers. However, we do have the ability to very quickly go in and define those pieces of software as software instances within the application and include those in our application modeling. Right? So again, it's a matter of just drawing a circle, drawing a line between what you want and what you don't want, and capturing that, giving it a name. It's a completely new paradigm for managing the relationships, the impacts, and so on. When we designed the product initially, we always captured observed communication, but there was never really a relationship defined within the CMDB or within the product to manage that observed communications. That observed communications is an integral part of this new paradigm of understanding the relationships between software instances, the hardware they're running on, and again, the load balancers they're sitting behind, the web servers that are supporting them. All of that information is available now, including that observed communications information. We give you the ability to understand those software that we don't understand, that we don't recognize as part of the product. Now, when I say we don't recognize, let's be clear here. BMC currently recognizes over 800 different data center class applications with more than 40,000 potential configurations of those software. Right, so when we talk about the different configurations they can support, the different database backends and the different relationships and the platforms they can run on, we've built a library of knowledge into this product that understands those things. However, as I say, there are things that might not make it in because A, they're not prevalent, or maybe they're custom designed software. Again, it's very easy to take a piece of candidate software, turn it into a software instance, have that software show up as part of your service model. Again, once it's defined as a software instance, we can include that very easily. Again, just dragging that circle around those devices or those pieces of software that we're interested in. The models are still dynamic. They look very static, but they're very dynamic. Let's take an example of, and I'm going to throw that load balancer out there again. So typically behind a load balancer, we've got multiple web servers or multiple application servers or something behind the scenes that are sharing the load, or maybe providing different interfaces, whether it's a secure socket or whether it's a standard HTTP. I always struggle with HTTP, but anyway, so if I add a server behind that load balancer, the model can automatically, dynamically pick up the fact that, hey, there's another web server now providing services to this process. And again, those things can be seasonal, especially for online retailers and people of that nature in the Christmas rush. They're going to add capacity, but they may remove that capacity later. Again, the data model or the models for the applications will dynamically adjust. Now, that's provided there's not too drastic of a change to that model. If there's a drastic change to that model, maybe all of a sudden I don't see a database that was there before, or I don't see something major has changed, we will automatically flag that as needing attention and bring that to your attention as quickly as possible, so that you can go in, see what's different about what we're seeing now versus what was there, and you can make those adjustments very quickly and very easily. So let's just jump over here and take a look at what that might mean. So again, in the old days, we had a process called CAM, and CAM was all about collaborative application mapping. So you would, as the discovery agent, or as the person running the discovery service and building the models, oftentimes you would have to work with a subject matter expert or a business owner or something of that nature to be able to understand all the underlying pieces and parts. And again, it was important to go below server-to-server communications as a model, because that's really not a model. It's the database talking to the application server, talking to the web server, and you want to know the instances of each of those to accurately model an application. So again, what we've done is we've tried to make this as easy as possible. So again, I can just come in here. I can type something like, actually, let's do the education. And when we just type in education, we can see that we've got 9 database details, and we've got some other information that we've captured that has the word education somewhere in it. So if we look at the database details, we can see that there's a number of different databases with the word education in it, but here's the education portal. Maybe that's the thing we want to map really quickly. So what we can do is we can just select these, and when we select them, again, we hit the visualization or model button, and what it does is it pulls together the information that we've captured based on observed communications, what we know about software that can potentially run in a cluster, what we know about the database instances running on an SQL server, what the communications between the different servers are, whether it's a SharePoint server or what have you, and be able to very quickly see this is what we call a direct force. So the closer things are together, the more impactful they are on those other items. Over here, we can see some things that, they also had the word education portal in them, but they don't seem to be part of this model. So again, if I go into my select mode and I just drag over here and I say, okay, I've now selected that, and what I want to do is I just want to remove those from my selection. So now what I've got is I've got this view here, and if I zoom in a little bit, let's see if I can zoom in without going the wrong direction, which I always do. Let me go back into my drag mode, drag that over here. We can see what those components are that we've captured. So we can see there's an SQL server here running 87 different database instances, but the one that we're concerned with is the education portal database, right? We can see that there's other devices out here that we've captured, like the big IP and a number of other devices, websites and web services and so on. And again, if we scroll, let me get outside of the window before I try to scroll. We can see those things that we focused in on. And again, I still have the ability to drill into any of these and get the details. But what we've done is we've made this modeling process so much simpler.